Hello, this is Christer Sandahl speaking again. Now I want to present the impressive scalability that CPDM offers. Why is there a need for scalability? Development of substantial products involve handling of a lot of complex details. In order to be efficient and to avoid chaos, all parts must be controlled in a smart way. CPDM supports an hierarchical nested box structure for this. Development of a house already starts with the environment that surrounds the house. Surprisingly, there are many more things to care about than may be imagined from the beginning. Next after the environment, the house shell must be developed. Also now, there are surprisingly many things to take care of. When the house shell is formed, it is time to develop the design of the rooms inside the shell. Electricity used to be one major part of this. One of the rooms will be the kitchen, to be furnished with kitchen equipment, which used to have many connections to provide. So, let's see how CPDM establish a nesting representation of a house. Begin to look around in the environment to the house and identify relevant existing elements. Establish the house to be developed in the environment. Identify which interfaces are desired to the house and can be connected in the existing environment. Open the house black box. Let the house shell be visible and continue to hide the interior of the house. Identify parts in the house shell white box, such as roofing, outer walls, and foundation. Extend the environment interfaces inwards in order to connect them to their final absorbers. So far, absorbers may be hidden by embedded black boxes. Identify parts in the house shell, such as entrance doors and windows. Open the house interior black box. The house interiors now get visible with the exception of the kitchen black box. Identify rooms in the house interiors such as living room and hall. Open the kitchen black box and identify fittings in the kitchen such as fridge, sink and worktop. Note that there are now no further embedded black boxes to open. To conclude, the number of needed nesting levels depends on how complex and large the product is. For the house, it was successfully represented with 4 nested levels. The scaling procedure can be summarized in the following steps. Start with establishing the environment at nesting level 0. Then identify all relevant elements that currently exist in the environment. In the middle of the environment, establish the product to be developed. Then identify all needed interfaces to be developed between the product and its existing environment. The product nesting level is now at level 1. Open the black box into a white box. Now populate the white box with desired elements and interfaces. If the white box is complex or has too many parts to be manageable, then start a new black box nesting level. Now, identify interfaces to all new boxes. If embedded black boxes have been identified, go back to step 5 of nesting level n+1. If no more black boxes are defined, the innermost nesting level is reached. All kind of boxes, elements, and interfaces will be specified and described in some way. Black boxes are specified by restriction and behavior requirements and test cases for prototype behavior verification. White boxes are described by solution alternatives, architectures, final design, requisites, and test cases for prototype design verification. Interfaces are specified and used for prototype, assembly, and integration. In CPDM, software is handled similarly as electronics and mechanics, which mean they also scale in the same way. This example describes a personal computer. In the environment, the user operates the computer via its interfaces such as mouse, keyboard, and screen. The user activities are taken care of by different parts of the Windows operating system. The operating system is connected to the application support functions, which were initially generated by Visual Studio. These support functions are in turn connected to the intelligent IQ part of the calculator. The whole PC, with its calculator IQ part, Visual Studio support, Windows operating system, user interface electronics and mechanics are illustrated in the same picture. Scaling and nesting can be done in several ways. In this example, the application IQ part became the innermost black box, and the whole calculator application became the next nesting level. And as shown before, the whole PC may be the outermost nesting level, residing in its environment together with its user. The process supporting the technical development has been presented in earlier video clips. Since it's very essential, I present it again. The technical development process can be seen as three major parts. First, the specification of the black box, then opening the black box into a white box for design, and finally building prototypes to be verified as a black and white box. In the middle, design of the white box has several steps. First, solution alternatives are proposed, then architectures are drawn, containing the preferred solutions, and lastly, make final detailed design from the architectures. Sorry, in this picture there is only place for abbreviations from the last picture. The just shown technical development process doesn't contain anything about scaling. So, take this process as the starting point and multiply this process for each nesting level. The outermost process level now takes care of the environment with its existing elements and of the parts to be developed, such as the product black box and its environment interfaces. Let an inward process nesting specify the product black box, open and design the white box, and build and verify the product. If the product is complex, then the design contains embedded black boxes to take care of by additionally inward process nestings, which can be repeated as long further embedded black boxes are defined. The connections between the process nesting levels are one of the most important parts of the CPDM scalable process. These connections make the process seamless when moving out and in between the environment and the innermost nesting level. Thanks for watching. See you in next video clip. And don't forget to take a look on my CPDM homepage on internet.